actually the Parkdale High Park community as well, because without their love and their support, we wouldn't be able to get through what we've gone through. It's been a very, very
the great Ethiopian poet ጸጋዬ ገብረመድህን, and it says, "I crave for knowledge, I envy tolerance, I am frightened by ignorance, I lose violence."
And think of me, soon I will be there.
It really touched my heart. It's been a really tough year, and seeing the repeated vandalism at that garden, that was a mature, beautiful garden that we've been tending for years, was really heartbreaking.
Beyond of this, I was happy to be as a public service. I was able to find resources to share with local restaurants that I love in near Jane in High Park. And one.
Hello and welcome to our show New Perspective. This is Susana Shanafi and Gazai Makonnen. Today we have a good news about a community award in which our media is nominated and awarded. Addis Kenyat or New Perspective Media is one of the awardees. We would like to thank our MP, Mr. Arif Barani, and his office for this great honor, and the great media supporter and journalist, Marty Macaro, for nominating us for this award. The event was so great and very diverse as the Parkdale High Park community is. Please enjoy our show.
Okay, so I'm Arif Barani. I'm the Member of Parliament for Parkdale High Park. I want to wish you all a very good evening and say welcome to the annual Parkdale High Park Community Champions Awards evening, which has been postponed very unceremoniously over the past year by the pandemic. But we are back in action, and I'm very pleased to be speaking to you. Yes, applause. I'm very pleased to be speaking to you from the territory of Parkdale High Park. I'm in my constituency office, which is on traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabeg, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit. And Toronto is obviously home to many diverse First Nations communities today, as well as Métis and Inuit peoples. Et aussi, je vais juste ajouter quelques petits mots en français, comme je le fais toujours. Donc, je vous souhaite la bienvenue ce soir pour cet événement. Et je suis très content d'être parmi vous autres ce soir. So, we're doing these Community Champion Awards, and I'll tell you quite candidly that it is, there are some really difficult parts about my job, and then there's some really amazing parts about my job. I often highlight things like citizenship ceremonies when I see people committing themselves to this country and seeing how moved they are. But when I think about sort of the riding that I represent, I think, every MP is sort of proud of where they represent. They're supposed to be, because that's who sent them to Ottawa. But I'm always really, really proud of sort of the people that I engage with in this community. And it's been tough to do so in the past 12 to 15 months, as it's been tough for all of you. And what was nice about this year is that we decided for a Community Champion Award, instead of sort of us sort of identifying all of the great leaders that we had seen in terms of me and my staff, we said, let's turn it over to the community and let's have you guys nominate each other. And it was actually really illuminating for me, because there's some groups or entities or people that are known to me, that I've heard about, known about for some time or for a short time. But there's some that sort of came out of the woodwork. And it's always really humbling for me to learn about how many amazing things are going on in every nook and cranny of this riding, and how it really emphasizes how proud I am to represent all of you. So, but enough of the gratuitous flattery. What we're going to do is get on with this, and you're going to learn about sort of who are these community champions among you. And what I also think is nice is that, I often see my role as advocating for this community. That's my fundamental role. My role is also to inform people in the community about what's going on. It's clearly to recognize people. But what I also love about events like this, it's sort of connecting people, because some of you may know about Feed It Forward and the great work that they do, some of you may know very little about some of the other work that's going on in the community from lesser known organizations or lesser known individuals. And it's a great way for you guys to sort of engage in dialogue and make connections and sort of network as a community unto itself. And if I can help in some small way in doing that, in what has been a very, very difficult year, then my job is at least partly done. And it has been a difficult year, and I think it's really important to recognize people that have been reaching out to others when a lot of what we need to do is also focus on ourselves. So on that note, what I'm going to do is I'll just tell you sort of how we're going to roll it out. And we've injected sort of a bit of a musical interlude into the agenda. For those of you who've been to sort of events in the past, it's usually just we're all in person and we are talking with one another. And you know, I recognize person A, and person A gives a little spiel if they want to. There's no pressure. And then we run through the entire evening. But we've got sort of Grammy style-esque, a bit of a musical interlude right smack dab in the middle. And that'll sort of ensure that you are as entertained as I am as the evening proceeds. The next in line is Gezahen Demisi. And if you live in Ronsi and Parkdale, you would have seen him actually recently featured in a magazine cover, him and his family. Gezahen was nominated by Marty McCarroll, and he is a journalist in exile who's working to create a bridge for Ethiopian refugees and immigrants as well as Canadians. For that work, I would say to Gezahen, Amaseganalu, my friend. He has done communication outreach in Canada here. He has a newspaper which is published in 3 different languages. He hosts podcasts about relevant issues to promote better understanding of culture and politics. And he is a very deserving recipient of the Parkdale High Park Community Champion Award. So over to you, Geza, for a few remarks. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arif Varani, our MP. I'm very proud to be part of this riding and part of this community and neighborhood. And good evening, everybody. I'm incredibly humbled and honored to be presented on this community award. Let me start my short remark by taking few lines from the great Ethiopian poet, Tsagay Gabramedhin. And it says, I crave for knowledge, I envy tolerance, I am frightened by ignorance, I lose violence. Dear Mr. Arif Varani, Member of Parliament for Parkdale High Park, dear my Canadian and Ethiopian friends, this is your award. Without your support and solidarity, this would not be impossible. When I and my wife, Sosanna Shannafi, planned to establish Addis Kenyit or New Perspective newspaper and radio as a media, our plan was to build a bridge between cultures and communities, both in Canada and across Atlantic. In this ethnically and racially divided age of ours, the role of media must be building bridges, and that's what we do. Thank God today we somehow fulfill that dream, thanks to our great Canadian friends, community members and leaders, thanks to the government of Canada and people, thanks to our kind and welcoming neighbors of High Park and Ronsi, thanks to the great Ethiopian community across the GTA and our church, St. Mary Cathedral. I want to shout out a few incredible names who make our life easier and comfortable in Canada. My wife, Sosanna Shannafi, and my son, Hisop McConnell, Lisa Clarkson and her families, Gordy, Henry, Lucy, you are the backbone of our life since day one. The Honorable Adrian Clarkson, former Governor General of Canada, and the great philosopher and writer, John Ralston Saul, Mary Jo Lady and Romero House, Pen Canada and Exile Writers Group, Keith Powell and his families since the inception of our media, Marty Macaro, the great media supporter and friend, thank you nominating me for this award. David Wallace and Mark Campbell from the Seniors Club, Tababa Olda Michael, Brahanu Tekla Michael, Girma Olda Michael, Daniel Barnes, Malakwa Smamau, Fanta Obata, the great filmmakers and my mentors, Niv Fitchman, Kevin McMahon, and Fraser Ash. I thank you all, and I thank you, Mr. Arif Varani, for this award, and have a good night for all of you. Namasagnal.
Amaseganali Geza. Thank you so much for that. It's wonderful. It shows you just the panoply of stuff. We've gone from butterflies to Ethiopian poets. Who knows where we're going next? But thank you, Geza. That's really heartfelt and really touching. And thank you for what you're doing also in terms of refugee awareness. It's something near and dear to my heart personally and professionally. And thank you for the shout out to the work that Mary Jo Letty is doing, among others, in this community.
How was the ceremony, Gazish?
Yes, Sosi, we are so happy and we are so honored for nominated and awarded on this annual community award. And as you said, we are living in a very diverse community. The Parkdale High Park community is a very lovely place to live in, and the neighborhood, people around us and living in this community are very welcoming and very generous in along the way. So we thank them very much, and the event was so fantastic. So many people who are struggling and giving back to their communities were selected and nominated for this year award. As you know, last year was very tough for all of us, and we are living in a lockdown, and so many businesses were cut off from their business and daily activities, but still people who are very courageous are still struggling and working to survive and to support others. So we are very grateful for all of our community members and our MP, Mr. Arif Varani, and his office. And yes, our community, Ethiopian community in the GTA, is very supportive throughout our show in the lockdown in 2020 and now. So they were giving us moral support and participating in our show and to be interviewed and contributing different things. So our show, our radio is a community radio. It's a community media. So without involving our community, our show is nothing. So we are very grateful for everyone from all walks of life who do their part to make this show very enjoyable and successful since we start from day one. That's what I would like to say. And we were awarded another trophy, as you remember, in 2019 from the Ethnic Media and Press Council of Canada. And this is our second award. So every year we have one award. So that's a moral boost for us to move forward. በአማርኛ, so I have to say this for our Amharic listeners, and ለአማርኛ አድማጮቻችን በጣም እናመሰግናለን አብራችሁን ስለነበራችሁ። እስካሁን ከጀመርንበት ጊዜ ጀምሮ ጋዜጣችንን በማንበብ ሬዲዮናችንን በመስማት ፖድካስታችንን ዩቲዩባችንን በመከታተል እና አሁንም ቢሆን ሰብስክራይብ እንድታደርጉን ፕሮግራማችንን እንድትከታተሉ ሰብስክሪፕሽን ያስፈልገናል። ሰብስክራይብ አድርጉ፣ ዩቲዩብ ቻናላችንን ሰብስክራይብ አድርጉ፣ ኮሜንት አድርጉ፣ እንዲነሱላችሁ የምትፈልጓቸው ጉዳዮች፣ ኢሹዎች፣ የኮሚኒቲ ችግሮች፣ ስለ ሀገር ቤት የሚያሳስቡንን ነገር በአጠቃላይ እዚህ ሀገርም ቢሆን ያሉ የፖለቲካል ጉዳይ፣ ሶሻል ችግር ካለ፣ የጤና ችግር ካለ አምጡት፣ እንወያይበት። መፍትሄ የሚያስፈልጋቸውን አብረን መፍትሄ እንፈልጋለን። እኛ እናንተን ለማገልገል ነው ይሄን ሚዲያ አቋቋም ነው። ሙያችን ቢሆንም ከእናንተ ተሳትፎ ውጪ የትም መሄድ አንችልም። ስለዚህ በጣም እናመሰግናለን እስካሁን አብራችሁን ስለነበራችሁ። የኢትዮጵያ ኮሚኒቲ አመራሮች፣ አባላት፣ የቅድስት ማርያም ቤተክርስቲያን አባላት፣ አጠቃላይ መሪዎቹ፣ ሊቀ ካህናት ምሳሌ፣ አቡነ ዲሜጥሮስ እንዲሁም ሌሎችም ቢሆኑ ከተጀመርን ጀምሮ ጋዜጣችንን እዛ በማከፋፈል ከኮሚኒቲያችን ጋር እንድንገናኝ በማድረግ ላደረጋችሁት አስተዋጽኦ እናመሰግናለን። ወደፊትም ይሄ ግንኙነታችን ይቀጥላል። እንደዚሁም ሌሎች የኮሚኒቲ አባላቶቻችን ስማችሁን ጠርተን ማንዘልቃችሁ በጣም አድርገን እናመሰግናለን። ካናዳውያን ጓደኞቻችንም እንደዚሁ ይሄንን ዓላማ በመደገፍ ይሄው ለዚህም በማጨት ለእጩነትን በማቅረብ ስራችንን ስለምትደግፉ በእጅጉ እናመሰግናለን።
Enjoy the whole ceremony.
residents and families at Copernicus. Copernicus, as I think everyone will know well, is the seniors residence located at the foot of Roncesvalles, right at the corner of Queen and Roncesvalles. And during the pandemic, she was leading the charge in many COVID-19 related projects to assist residents and staff at Copernicus. And I got to know her quite directly when she was talking to me about vaccines and vaccine rollout and how critical it was for seniors in care, which all of us knew, but for seniors in care right here in this riding. And she really was a dogged advocate, and to her credit. But it's also about mask making, about donation drives for coloring books. It's about letter writing projects so residents can remain occupied and inspired through very challenging times. So a great way to start off the Community Champions Awards is with Mary Oko, and here's her lovely certificate. So in case you've not seen it, we would have been giving this to her in person if she was here, and everyone would be applauding. So there's applause for Mary. And Mary, over to you for some words. You know, if you want to speak for 1 or 2 minutes, the floor is yours about the work you're doing.
Thank you, Arif, and I want to thank you and your team for the help that you provided to our community. And I also want to thank actually the Parkdale High Park community as well, because without their love and their support, we wouldn't be able to get through what we've gone through. It's been a very, very tough year, and unfortunately, we were hit pretty hard with the second wave of an outbreak. But we're still standing. Fortunately, the outbreak is over, and we'll just keep going. I mean, vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. I'm on a big mantra right now to make sure that we get 100% of our residents, families, and staff, which will be challenging because there is some vaccine hesitancy, but I'm fully vaccinated, yay. And so is my mom. And I hope all of you within our loving community will get vaccinated as well. So thank you.
And we'll tell the president of Brazil that Mary Oko didn't grow a beard after getting that vaccination.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good sign. Excellent.
I'm good.
Excellent. That's great to hear. So thank you so much for your advocacy, Mary. And it's just nice to hear a bit more about sort of what's going on in Copernicus. I mean, I know it because I attend some events there. I hold some events there. For some people who live in Roncesvalles or Parkdale, sometimes maybe their only interaction are some of those sales that happen right outside the lodge. And some of those sales have not happened, obviously, for over a year now. So it's really important to understand that people are in need in our community, and thank you for doing what you're doing to serve them. The next in line is Angel Bade. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Angel, so I apologize. And Angel was nominated by Anna Bartula, who was known to many of us as the head of the Parkdale BIA. Angel is the organic master gardener and business manager of the Parkdale Green Thumb Initiative. She was nominated for her commitment to creating projects that improve the well-being of residents, both big and small. And she is very involved with the O'Hara Garden. And that garden was facing repeated vandalism in light of recent acts of anti-Black racism. And the idea of garden rejuvenation and creating a peace garden was born as a result. In the summer of 2020, Angel facilitated the O'Hara Garden Rejuvenation Project in partnership with the Parkdale Village BIA. And she played a huge role in creating the Parkdale People and Pollinator Peace Garden in honor of Parkdale's Black community. So following in the fine footsteps of other legendary Parkdalians who happen to be Black women activists like Rita Cox, lo and behold, we've got Angel Bade. So Angel, over to you. Congratulations. Oh, and I've got your certificate. There it is. So there's Angel. So now we do applause. You know, Maria, if you want to learn, there's like these really cool icons you can put up on your screen. On the reaction tab, you can put little like horns and stuff like that. So that's for Angel. And Angel, I hope you've got your certificate in real time. And over to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I wanted to say it was a real honor and a surprise to find out that I had been nominated and given this award. It really touched my heart. It's been a really tough year, and seeing the repeated vandalism at that garden, that was a mature, beautiful garden that we've been tending for years, was really heartbreaking. And it also came at a time that I'm also on the family council at my mom's nursing home, Lakeside Long-Term Care. And we were locked out for 3 months during the first wave. And so I wasn't able to go see my mom and take care of her. And at the same time, there was the vandalism, and at the same time, the murders of Regis Koczynski-Paquette and George Floyd. And all those things kind of were happening at the same time. And I was with my bike standing by that garden looking at the destruction. And I just thought, we need something positive. We need something hopeful, and we need a symbol of resilience. And I was like, damn, that sounds like butterflies to me. So I was like, we need a butterfly garden. And I put the word out. And it's funny because it came from a place of like heartbreak and anger and upset and feeling helpless in the face of the pandemic and these murders and the stuff that was happening in the nursing homes. But it quickly just transformed into a lot of love and optimism and energy. And within 24 hours, I think I had about 400 or 500 plants promised to us from various community members and groups. I had peers from Landscape Ontario, Project Swallowtail, which is an amazing local pollinator supporting group, Pollinator Partnership. I had community members, Naomi, Ariel, and Navid was a family of gardeners, the 2 children gardeners who came and just did amazing work. Lorraine Johnson, who's a real local hero, was an incredible support. Jonas Spring, also known as EcoMan, who's a great local gardener and landscaper. And of course, Anna Bartula was a great champion for us. So, and then last but not least, I really send a heartfelt thanks to my crew. So Parkdale Green Thumb Enterprises, you guys are the bomb, heart bomb. You put so much love into that garden and you make it a place of peace and happiness. I love seeing people pausing next to this, Popeye's chicken, which is kind of random, but pausing and looking at the flowers and seeing butterflies floating around and bees. And we just want to contribute to a little bit of peace and resilience to the neighborhood. So love and thanks to everybody.
Wow, hear. That's awesome. That's why they should never have invented that sort of takedown music at the Oscars where they sort of cut you off after 30 seconds, because that was a beautiful more than 2 minutes and very impassioned and very heartfelt and very sincere. So thank you for being so honest and raw about what the past sort of 12, 15 months has been like, and the power of sort of nature and the power of sort of community reaction and community response. And I'll tell you, I've also been taken by the fact that, in Parliament and in other spheres that I've moved in over the past 20 years, I've often found it a bit frustrating when it's people of color that carry the mantle for fighting back against racism or systemic discrimination. But what's been amazing, if there is a silver lining to the last 12 months, is that there's been such a widespread, massive move in terms of sort of an awakeness on the part of the entire continent, whether it's with respect to what's happening with the Black community, with Indigenous community. We see Asian discrimination on the rise, but people are saying enough is enough, and it's people that look like the entire rainbow, and that's a great thing to see. And I salute you for what you're doing. And obviously, Anna Bartula picked judiciously when she decided to nominate you, so congratulations.
Really. And I invented a new thing, a Zoom fist bump.
Nice. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. So speaking of sort of like the green component, so the next on my list, and Hamid will tell me if I'm sort of deviating. I think I'm still in the right order here. Yeah, I think I'm good. Is Roncy Works. Now, full disclosure, because I'm a lawyer turned parliamentarian, is that there's a minor conflict of interest here because I was part of Roncy Works, but I feel like I was never sort of cool enough to do what these folks are doing, because when I was at Roncy Works, we sort of just collected cigarette butts, and that's what they sort of trusted me with, because they're like, well, that Varani guy, he can just help clean up some of the flower beds. But these folks that we're about to recognize go much beyond just cleaning up, because they actually beautify the flower beds. So it's a nice segue exactly from where Angel was. They were nominated by Abby, who was on the call earlier, and she's still on with her husband, Renee. But the Roncy Works Green Team is who we're celebrating, and there's a whole host of them. The program began in 2011, shortly after the street was redesigned in close collaboration with the Ronceville's BIA. So some of you might remember sort of the streetcar upheaval back then, about 10, 11 years ago. It was in collaboration with the BIA, the city's public works and forestry departments, the TTC, and a working group of dedicated local residents, some of whom remain as Roncy Works Green Team members even today. So that's how you get these beautiful, large, and numerous garden beds with accompanying street furniture that came to be designed for lingering and for bringing nature to the street. There are 14 volunteers that tend to 23 street gardens along the full length of Ronceville, from the south at Queen Street to the north at Dundas Street. They devote between 50 and 300 hours a year, which is really quite incredible. There are spring and fall cleanups each year. Those are the ones they invite me to. And the local residents and families all pitch in for a community event of goodwill. These projects have positively impacted the community during these challenging times, bringing some of that comfort I think that Angel was referring to in terms of, a dose of nature in the city, which is so instrumental. So there's a whole whack of them, and their names are Veronica File, Abby Bushby, Ann Crichton-Harris, Catherine Gotry, Carol Holland, Barbara Yap, Anne Karpizhnik, Peggy Lathwell, William Montague, Karen Pivnik, Rahel, who's on the call, John Shashevsky, Jackie Tashro, Mary Weens of CBC fame, and Peter Fasico. So thank you to all of you at Ronci Works, and I think I'm going to turn the mic over to Abby because she's going to be the nominated spokesperson. But a big round of applause to all the folks at Ronci Works for beautifying the neighborhood, in particular Ronci Square Village.
Veronica will be speaking on behalf of.
Okay, sorry, Veronica's speaking. Go ahead, Veronica.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Arif, for the recognition of the Ronci Works Green Team. Having enabled the work of the Ronci Works, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Having enabled the work of the Ronci Works Green Team since the group's inception, it is a joy for me to celebrate the volunteers who currently tend the 23 gardens along Roncesvalles. It's their labor of love that brings a lot of joy to the neighborhood, and here's why. Not only do the gardeners study and select suitable plants, they weed, they tend, they nurture gardens. They also improve the soil, they pick up litter, and sometimes they supplement watering. They favor predominantly Canadian native shrubs and flowering species, which attract butterflies, other pollinators, and birds. One of the most rewarding activities for the street gardeners is to chat with passers-by about plant, tree, pollinator species. It's an opportunity for horticultural education and urban habitat preservation. They enhance our cultural identity as an eco-friendly community and extend its ecosystems of Hyde Park into the urban neighborhood. Also, the gardeners act as unofficial ambassadors, giving directions for on-the-spot reviews for nearby attractions. They enjoy a cooperative partnership with the Roncesvalles Village BIA in welcoming people to our area. So it's really been a delight to see an increase in pollinators in these gardens over the years. Like the time I saw a monarch butterfly lingering in the garden on the east side, and off it went fluttering over the other side to the west side, and really showed me how these butterflies are using, Roncesvalles as a corridor to go from east to west from the parks and the yards. The green team members being celebrated today have mostly been gardening for 7 to 10 years. 5 of them were part of the original community consultation committee for the Main Street redesign. And this really shows how embedded the volunteering is in our community on Ronci. And I have to say, I guess maybe some of the awesome potluck planning meetings and year-end celebrations along the way kind of really sweetened the deal. So that was really helped food brings community together. What can I say? So as a local resident, I want to express my own deep gratitude to all these dedicated volunteers, most of whom have continued to tend the garden during the pandemic. And they've also, we've also have a lot of other green team members who can put in a lot of time over the years, before they ended up having to move away. So to the Hyde Park, the Parkdale Hyde Park community, we do encourage you to visit us, to ask the gardener anything you want about gardening, to tell us what you like, and to share photos with our local social media sites, including the Roncesvalles Village BIA, Friends of Roncesvalles Avenue, the Dundas Roncesvalles Peace Garden, and Ronci Works. So thanks again for your recognition, everyone, and for everyone, including Angel and her wonderful team at the Parkdale Green Thumbs, who's helped out with the watering over the years. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Come on, you.
Thank you so much, Veronica, and thank you for all of your hard work with the BIA over the years. It's really, really appreciated, and it is very, very. It's been very, very important and impactful. And thank you so much to the Ronci Works team. It's really amazing. I'm learning a lot about butterflies tonight. It's amazing. Who knew about all of this stuff? I'm sure there's more sort of butterfly stuff to come. It'll weave its way through this evening's sort of events. The next on my list is Dimitru Ilchuk. So to Dimitru, I'd say Dobry Večer, if I remember correctly. Dimitru was nominated by Renata Dimitraz, And he has professionally volunteered on the community development assistant role for Cesar Palacio, City Councilor Cesar Palacio's assistance team, Community Office Ward 17. He also volunteered to be a member of the Human Rights Committee for the United Nations Association in Canada in its Toronto office. During COVID-19, he became a frontline worker in the COVID-19 Self-Isolation Center for families to support the City of Toronto essential services for vulnerable city residents. He's also responded to emergency requests to support the city during this emergency crisis and was one of many city election staff who helped with delivering all safety protocols and putting them in place while the declaration of emergency was in effect during the Ward 22 by-election. Yes. While working full days as an essential worker, he also continued his work supporting the TDSB immigrant environment by becoming a community resource ambassador and increasing local awareness and delivering access to information about essential services and financial and social supports benefits that could help to protect themselves and others. So clearly this is a man who doesn't sleep very much because he's doing a heck of a lot all hours of the day in terms of the pandemic and assisting others and fundamentally thinking about others' needs before his own. So who better than to receive a Community Champion Award than our very own Dimitro Ilchuk. There you go, my friend. I hope you received this certificate already. Big round of applause. And over to you if you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. It's really, I'm so impressed. And a few days ago, and a couple of days ago, I got a mail from you, and then mail. And for me, it was such unexpected things in my life. It's great things because I could not imagine that somebody simply following all of us in the C community recognition or efforts, because I believe that all story that people are sharing here, it's like small part of what we're doing here in Canada, right? But beyond of everything, I would say that when we hear appreciation, in my case, it's completely boosts my energy and motivation, and it's like it's small thing, but it's big impact for all of lives. And yes, it's true. I work in the justice system in Toronto, so we colleagues in this case. And whole 2020, I work as frontline. I'm not professional medic, but I asked my division in City of Toronto to send me to a deployed assignment during COVID, and I was helping nurses team. It was actually a shelter for families, which was converted to self-isolation area in Scarborough. So for me, it was also challenges to be in the TTC every day from High Park to Scarborough. But beyond of this, I was happy to be as a public service. I was able to find resources to share with local restaurants that I love in near Jane in High Park, and one beautiful seafood store in Bloor West. And I was helping with people who can help them with submission to federal benefits, because in last spring and last summer it was crazy time. We experienced a lot of panic, and I feel that if I don't do anything, I also can get crazy, because this was very hard work for all of us, especially for frontline workers. And as you mentioned, Natat Mitras, she is one of teacher in partnership with whom I was establishing some special Zoom classes for kids in Ukraine. And we also helping some kids who need to just simply speak. And it was also a great part to contribute. And because I believe that we here are strong because we are a community, and all of us doing a great job every day. But it's very welcome to see that such great level of officials like you and your office able to say thank you and support us. And I, as a Ukrainian, I also would like to say a special thing that for your permanent support for Ukraine people, and especially I'm glad to see Ukrainian flag behind of you. And thank you for your letter for Revolution of Dignity in the last couple of weeks. And thank you for all who participate in helping our city here in Canada.
So I'll try and say Vitaimo, you're welcome, and Duży dziękuję. It's really impressive. And I think what just struck me about what you're saying is that you're not just doing work here in our immediate community, but it's right around the city, including traveling to Scarborough and the TTC to help other people. I mean, that's
yes.
Really about not self-interest, but selflessness, and really thinking generously about others. And it's really, really to be commended. So thank you, Dimitra. It's well worth it doesn't take much for me and my team to recognize people when they're doing such incredible work and flying under the radar, and you deserve all of the recognition you are getting. So here.
Thank you so much, sir.
And on a similar vein, here is one that came in as a nomination from somebody who I know very well, whom I have tremendous respect for. So the nominator was Reverend Alexa Gilmore from the Windermere United Church. And she has nominated the next recipient, and that recipient is Anne-Marie Moeller. And here's what Alexa wrote to us about Anne-Marie. So Anne-Marie is the volunteer parish nurse at Windermere United Church. After retiring from a successful career in nursing, Anne-Marie decided to keep up her nursing license and dedicate herself full-time to her community as a volunteer nurse. She dedicates 30 plus hours a week as a volunteer nurse to neighbors in need. She began this volunteer commitment in December 2014, over 6 years ago. As the volunteer parish nurse at Windermere United, she's provided over 6,000 hours of volunteer time, supporting young families through difficult decisions, elderly individuals in times of transition, and neighbors dealing with illness and mental health crises. She's coordinated luncheons for isolated seniors. She's coordinated youth events, mental health workshops, the food security program, wellness visits and calls, as well as providing monthly resources on issues affecting the community's health, which have made a difference in the neighborhood's overall well-being. Under her leadership, the food security at Windermere has been running 2 mornings a week through COVID with all of the safety protocols in place. And the quote that Alexa finished on in terms of describing Anne-Marie is that she is, quote, a force of nature for good in the world. And that is entirely befitting of somebody who you would want to recognize on an evening like tonight. And this really underscores to me how I help to learn about and understand more about my community through events like this. So Anne-Marie, thank you honestly and very sincerely for all the work you're doing. And your certificate is here. I hope you received it in person already. And over to you for a few words, if you'd like to tell us a bit about sort of what you've been doing.
Well, thank you, Arif.
And here.
Thank you. Very kind words. I mean, it really takes many hands to make a bridge. I came to Windermere 6 years ago, and the food security program, certainly this past year with COVID, has just been, such change in our lives. We've seen a 300% increase in people coming to our doors that are hungry, living in poverty, have lost their jobs. But it takes many hands, and really I want to give tribute to Reverend Alexa Gilmore, who's just the champion of social justice, but also to the many volunteers that have supported everything at Windermere, and particularly me through COVID. It's just been an incredible honor to be there. And I think the gift of giving is what keeps us all grounded. It's been my honor and my privilege. And so thank you so very much. And thank you to my team at Windermere and to Reverend Alexa.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Really well stated. And thank you for giving back. And again, there's a bit of a conflict of interest here for me. I'm married to a nurse who's a public health professional who's also doing a lot during COVID, but I've definitely been struck by the number of people who have basically left some aspect of the medical profession, but have sort of re-entered it at this time in particular. I know you re-entered some years ago just to help out at Windermere, but it's really quite noble to see so many people sort of saying, they're going to roll up their sleeves one more time to help out because their community, their city, their province, their country is in need. So thank you very much for what you're doing. So now I've got Brian Traquair, and Brian was nominated by Hilary McLean. He is the treasurer and board member of Runnymede United Church. He's the board member of Bloor West Nursery School and a key member on his condo board. So at Runnymede United, he leads 2 committees in terms of the COVID response. The first focuses on how to respond to public health guidelines, including shutting down the building, setting up community outreach, shifting employees to work from home, moving services online, responding to renters, and more. The second committee at Runnymede United that he's involved in works on how to reopen the building in line with public health guidelines. And as this thing ebbs and flows, you can see how both of those roles are quite important. At the Bloor West Nursery School, he's worked with the nursery school to plan around COVID, to communicate with their key stakeholders, participate in COVID planning, both the shutdown and the startup. And he worked very tirelessly to make sure the school is meeting all of the public health guidelines. And last but not least, on his condo board, when he's got some additional time, he throws in his work there, and he leads annual meetings with over 50 participants, figures out how to vote online so that it's official using Zoom, but still facilitating anonymous voting through an official count. So he's obviously a master of many, many trades and ability to juggle a lot of different tasks. And I want to invite you all to put your hands together to congratulate Brian Chakere on being recognized as a community champion. And there, Brian, is your certificate. I hope it's arrived, and if not, it should be in the mail shortly. And over to you, sir.
Thank you, Arif. I have to say it's humbling to be in such company. These are great achievements. And a shout out to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie and I've been working together between our two churches on many aspects of this opening. For me, it's such a team effort, and people say it in varying ways. What I've found interesting is how many talents, how many amazing talents are there once you ask for help. So as we brought these teams together across the church, the nursery school, every single time I've discovered parts of people's lives I didn't know, backgrounds they had, contributions they could make. And that's really been exciting. I mean, it's been video, not as great as being together in a room, but working with them to try to find a safe path. People want to do things, but it's not really safe. And how do you find that path has been very rewarding and just, I think, a great thing. And I know we all look forward to the end of the pandemic. I think as a church, we're stronger now. We have live streaming worship. We didn't do that before. We needed a crisis to make that happen. And we're committed to doing that live stream forever, as well as having people in person. So it is transformative. And I'm just very pleased at this award and recognition. And it really belongs to all the people in our church, nursery school, and everywhere else who do so many things. So thank you.
Thank you. It's great to hear from Runnymede United in particular, because sometimes it's sort of, I remember for all of the all candidates meetings and all of this sort of engagement that you have, but there's so much going on there all the time. And, just with the pandemic and all of the distancing, it sort of gets hard to sort of recollect all of the different things that your church and so many other churches are doing. But thank you for that reminder, and thank you for facilitating it. So here's where we get to the musical interlude. So enough from Marie for Annie. You're going to have some actual real live entertainment, and it's coming to us from a local champion in his own right. Brian McMillan is a local resident in the Roncy-Parkdale area. He is a singer-songwriter and a composer. He's worked with the likes of the Bare Naked Ladies, who also have some local dimension to them, John McDermott, The Lowest of the Low, and the Waylon Jennies. He's currently focusing on his latest duo project, which is called Kennedy Road, which has been nominated for a Canadian Folk Music Award. So please, over to you, Brian, to take it away.
Thanks, Arif. Hey, everybody. Nice to see everyone, and what a pleasure to be a part of the program tonight, and just to have some faces put to, I mean, even in the small amount of what we can actually see in the community of what people are doing, and there's so much happening that isn't visible and just is working behind the scenes, but is affecting and helping so many people. But the gardens along Roncesvalles and the Butterfly Garden on Queen Street, and a lot of the things that I've enjoyed and have taken note of, and every little bit that just kind of brightens your own day a little bit, but also is an illustration of someone caring beyond what you might think is just caring for your own small circle. So it's really beautiful to see that. And I've been a Parkdale resident for 25 years. So I really love this community, and I really love to see how much of the community has pulled together and has become tighter knit because of the challenges that we've faced for the past year, and all that it has brought up just in our particular community. And I know that's affecting every community in its own ways and some universal ways. But anyway, thank you for including me in this, and it's such a treat. As we know, there's the way that it's affected me personally is I don't get to play in a room full of people anymore. So in the very least, it's nice to play in my own room and see a room full of people in their own rooms. Doesn't happen enough, so I appreciate it. So I'm gonna put this. I put a little reverb on here, but I'm gonna sing a song that just. That's about friendship and thanks, and I feel is appropriate for our community in particular and this awesome group of people. All right.
And if you're down and you're troubled, and you need a helping hand, nothing, no, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up, oh, even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, and I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, and all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. And if the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together, call my name out loud. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. Well, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? And people can be so cold, they'll hurt you and desert you. They'll take your soul if you let them, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, and all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend.
Bravo.
Thank you.
I didn't think we could afford James Taylor on at a show like this. That's pretty impressive, my friend. That was fantastic.
Thank
Well
you.
done, Brian.
Thank you so much.
It's such an appropriate message as well. Really,
yeah, I think so too.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. so it's hard to build off of that, but we're gonna get right back into it. Thank you so much for that, Brian. Really appreciate it. The next set of award recipients starts with Julia Stewart, and Julia was nominated by Barbie Lazarus, and Julia is one of the board members of the High Park Tenants Association. She goes above and beyond as the lead contact with management. She devotes tons of her time and energy in meeting with different landlords every single month to bring forward tenants' concerns and to fight for meaningful change and action from the landlord. She continues to diligently meet with tenants and continues in fighting for them. So an A+ for advocacy for Julia Stewart, and she was again nominated by Barbie Lazarus, and I'm very pleased and very proud to include her as part of the Parkdale High Park Community Champions for 2020-2021. Trying to find her on my screen, but Julia she's here somewhere. There she is. Sorry, Hamid had done this split screen thing for me earlier, but now it's gone. But over to you, Julia, for a few words. And I've got your certificate right here. Right here. Did you? I hope you received yours in person. There we go.
Yes,
There's
thank
Julia.
you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Over to you, Julia.
Thank you so much for this award. Yeah, it's really an honor to be recognized alongside all the amazing people who are here tonight doing obviously really important work in the community. I really feel that all the people I volunteer with on the High Park Tenants Association, and I think actually one of them, Kathy, is here tonight as well, and all the people volunteering with tenants associations and other tenants groups really deserve recognition as well. At a time when renters are facing a difficult environment, with increasingly unaffordable rents, sometimes difficult landlords, and all the challenges that the pandemic has brought. Tenants associations play a really important role in the community, both in educating tenants and bringing tenants together to organize and to support one another. Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Stella Isaac, who is also here with her brother Jordan. I saw them both. There they are, Stella and Jordan Isaac. Stella was nominated by Debbie King. She is an active and compassionate community member who's gone above and beyond to serve her community through the pandemic. A familiar face in South Parkdale, along with her entire family, Stella could regularly be found leading free fitness classes on Melbourne Avenue throughout the summer and fall pandemic months. And we need a bit more of that now that the weather's getting a bit warmer now, Stella. So we've got to revisit that. The completely grassroots class caught on, got formally named NACL Saturdays. It became a ritual of distance gathering and socializing among neighbors. After NACL Saturdays, Stella and her family would head around the corner to Elm Grove Avenue, where they banged pots and pans outside the Elm Grove Living Center, providing much needed sense of support, communication, entertainment, and relief to the people that were living there. And we've heard a lot about that effort in particular, but Stella and her brother are obviously doing a lot more than just that effort. So who better than the tag team of Stella and Jordan Isaac? So who are you, Stella?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much, MP Barani. I was really surprised when I got that nomination. I've been really inspired by Debbie and the work that she does in the Parkdale community fitness-wise. And at the beginning, I was a varsity athlete at York, and I really missed that sense of community, and I just wasn't working out, and I wasn't happy anymore. I used to work out 5 days a week, 5 hours a day with my teammates. And my sister, Woodney, and my mom actually encouraged me to start these street workouts. And I was like, no, nobody's going to come. Why would I do this? It's a pandemic. And I started talking to my neighbors. We're really close with our neighbors. And I started talking to one of my neighbors, and I said, why don't we work out on the street? And another neighbor heard and said, if you all are working out on the street, then I want to join. And I was like, okay, maybe there is interest. And on the first really nice Saturday in May, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And it just caught on, and people all around Parkdale started joining, different ages. I had like a 5-year-old who joined, and my mom would come to all of my classes, and my sister Abby would also come. And it was just people all over Parkdale who would come, and even people who lived in Roncesvalles would come, and St. Clair area, like really far, would come every Saturday at 6:16 for the, and my brother's teacher, Miss Carrington, who's watching, would also come from Scarborough. And it was just incredible. And I put it at 616 because I really wanted people to come and join the 7:30 cheering at the Living Center. So as soon as we were done our workout, we would go and cheer, and Jordan would play his drum, which he did from April or May all the way to September every night, cheering at the Living Center. The Living Center in our neighborhood was really hard hit by COVID, and my neighbors and we rallied every night. And I'm just so grateful to receive this award, and grateful that I'm able to use the gifts that, God gave me to serve others. And yeah, that's what I believe that we're meant to do. So if I can let someone smile and shine and work out for an hour every Saturday, then it's such a blessing for me. Jordan, do you want to say something?
Me?
Yes.
How'd you get your teacher to come from Scarborough there, Jordan?
Yeah. How did you get Miss Carrington to come? Would you want to say thank you? Oh.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Stella.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for all of the work that you do. Thank you.
Awesome. You mentioned your smile. Your smile is radiant and beaming, and it's affecting all of us, first of all. I have two very quick questions. What was the sport that you were a varsity athlete in, and why is it called NACL Saturday? What does that stand for? If it's polite, if you could say it on a live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did track and field at York University. I was a varsity athlete for 4 years, and Jordan was actually also doing track at York, but with the Special Olympics. So I did track for 4 years there, and it was just such an amazing coach, Coach Ray, and my amazing teammates, and I just missed being around them. And now I do the classes online on Saturdays until we're ready to go outside again. And my teammates show up there as well. So it's just really incredible that we have this great community, and I'm doing my classes through Good Space, also in Parkdale. So it's great. And NaCl actually stands for sodium chloride, which is salt. So Salty Saturdays.
Awesome. Little chemistry lesson snuck in there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Butterflies to Ethiopian poetry to chemistry. Look, it's just evident flowing. I'm loving this conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Stella. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next we've got somebody who's well known to me, and I think well known to the community, who is debuting for very first time in this entire pandemic, if you can believe it, on Zoom. That's Maria Odette Karuska. And Maria was, big round of applause just for that. But Maria was nominated. I can sort of poke fun at her because we're friends. Maria was nominated by Chef Jagger Gordon, who was on earlier next to Tony and others. She has not only involved extensively with Feed It Forward, but has been running Dinner with Dignity and street outreach programs that have been amplified through these very uncertain and difficult times. Every year, her program dishes out over 16,000 meals for our community's most vulnerable members. And in times like this, these programs are crucial in the fight for food security. But she's also working. We're going to present Maria and the rest of the team from Feed It Forward at the same time. So Maria's been doing extensive work with Jagger at Feed It Forward. And among the other two people at Feed It Forward that were nominated by Jagger himself were Tony Zambri. Tony's on the line here. She had that cool background. I saw her. There they are. Okay. And she is a leader by example. Jagger described her in this way. Tony's continuously making her efforts to the thousands of people she touches weekly in our community programs through Feed It Forward, running the Pay What You Can grocery store and as logistics captain for our free meal program that is generated throughout our city and especially in the Parkdale High Park area. And rounding out this natural hat trick of amazing leaders on food security is Adam Spenceley. And as Jagger described him, he is a true gentle giant. He volunteers 7 days a week, so every single day at the store, delivers meals to all the families and people living with food insecurities in High Park and Parkdale and throughout the GTA with Feed It Forward. And true to form, in terms of the advocacy I've seen demonstrated by so many of you, when I called this guy to congratulate him on this award, he started advocating for somebody who's not named him. he started telling me about an individual who helps out at Feed It Forward, who lives nearby in one of the shelters, and that shelter was struggling with having adequate PPE. And I just thought that was very characteristic of the people that work with Jagger, and people like Adam, in terms of what he's doing, is constantly thinking about others and their needs rather than thinking about his own. So to Adam, to Tony, and to Maria, thank you so much for the work you're doing on food insecurity in our community, in Parkdale Park, and literally throughout the GTA. And a big round of applause to all three of you. And hopefully you got, yay, and hopefully you got your certificates. There's, I didn't know your middle name, Maria, so there it is, Odette, Maria Odette Karuska. And there we have Tony and Adam. There we go.
You do it.
And why don't we, you know, if all three of you want to speak a little bit, so why don't we go to Tony and Adam first, and then we'll come back to Maria. So over to you guys, Tony and Adam.
Hi, my name is Adam Spenceley. I've been a volunteer at Feed It Forward since its inception, and I'd like to congratulate all the other winners, and also to Jagger Gordon of Feed It Forward, who nominated me, and especially to Arif Varani, who is presenting me with this award. I thank you with my utmost heart and dignity. There's not much else I can say, but keep going, guys. We're doing a good job, and the more we do together, the more things get accomplished. Arif, thank you very much. And off to Tony.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just want to say congratulations to all the nominees. Thank you very much who nominated me, Chef Jagger Gordon. It's absolutely a pleasure working with everyone, our team, Maria, Adam, all the other volunteers. We do this so everyone could have a meal, you know, and shop with dignity. And for everyone, for all the voices out there. And special thank you to Arif Varani.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Over to you, Maria.
Oh my. Hi, everybody. Well, thank you, Arif. This is amazing. Our little mantra for the past year has been hunger does not stop with social distancing. So I would like to do a big shout out to my team at Dinner with Dignity at Roncesvalles United Church, who come out every single Saturday since last March to make sandwiches and soup to take to the streets. We've pivoted our efforts a bit from just serving our meal at the church on Sundays to taking soup and sandwiches to the streets on Saturdays and having soup and sandwiches at the church on Sundays. So a big shout out to my team of Dinner with Dignity. Also a big shout out to Chef Jagger, Tony, and Adam for all the soupy ingredients they give me every week, which makes my soup almost award-winning in this city. I'm just so grateful to know everyone, all of you people that have been nominated in all your food insecurity work, and all the communities of Ronci for their warm clothing donations for a clothing bank and for other donations. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ronci. I stand on your shoulders. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much to all three of you for the important work that you're doing and have been doing for so many years. There you go, the big heart. There you go. Attaboy, Jagger. Next, we've got Deborah Gold. Deborah was nominated, again, I guess there's lots of conflicts of interest, but Deborah was nominated by her husband. But that kind of doesn't matter because I think it's really critical in terms of getting the recognition for the work that she's been doing. And she is the executive director of Balance for Blind Adults. And I've been privileged enough to get to know this organization, one, because it's about 150 meters from my constituency office, but two, because it's doing such critical work in our community. You might have heard her joking around a bit about her lovely background and how it's a bit ironic because she deals with visual impairments and the assistance that people need who are living with visual challenges. And what Balance does is it provides training and support to those who are blind or living with vision loss. These supports have help those who are vision impaired and blind individuals achieve independence and actually engage in their community to a higher level. During the pandemic, what's been happening under Deborah's watch is that Balance has pivoted their services and added many online mental health services and outreach programming. So I know her as a really dedicated professional, somebody who's really dedicated to this community, lives in the community, works in the community, and is assisting those in need. And I think she's a very deserving award recipient tonight. So I turn it over to Deborah Gold. Oh, I keep forgetting. There's a certificate. Hope you got it already, Deb.
Yes, I have it right here. It's a huge honor. It'll go in a special place once we're fully back in the office, and I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. I wanted to start by saying thank you. I wanted to comment that since I'm following on the Feed It Forward gang, volunteered with Feed It Forward over the holiday and could not believe how hard people were working. So I met Adam. I saw Tony hard at work, but didn't get to meet her. Nice to meet you. And just could not believe the hours and hours, the amount of work that was going on. And I was only there for one day. So I know that was days and days and days of feeding people, not just over the holidays, but through this whole time. So, and there are others here today too that I feel honored to be sharing the screen with, so the time with. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about Balance while I have the opportunity. So we're a small but mighty community support service located in the west end of Toronto, as you mentioned, serving clients with sight loss, though, all across the city. And with our doors open now for 35 years, our mission is to maximize independence, and we provide technology training to blind adults, as well as orientation and mobility and community engagement support and occupational therapy. All our staff traditionally provide help to people in their homes. We go to visit people in their homes to provide the service. On March 16th, 2020, after a weekend spent talking to my staff on the phone and pondering our next steps, we closed our doors for what we thought might be a short time at that time and immediately pivoted to providing online services. Our technology teachers, of course, were in high demand to help people learn the technology they needed to be able to switch immediately to teaching remotely from home. And most of their clients were able to adapt to the situation. We also created a brand new service we had never been able to have in place before, which was a telephone support service where we began weekly check-ins with all our clients. And we have about 180 this year. This is a service that was greatly appreciated, and it supported some of our clients through very difficult times. In the summer, and with appropriate required screening and PPE, our providers began providing service to our clients in their homes and our community again, and now we provide services in all the possible ways available. Blind people have been particularly vulnerable during this pandemic. They use touch to orient or provide safety to themselves, to check their appearance, to take the arm of another person. Checking your appearance means touching your face. To take the arm of another person in order to receive guidance. For example, when crossing the street or finding a seat on the bus, they need to touch surfaces. They cannot see the markings on the floor in stores. And without vision, it's extra difficult to hear the clerks through masks and plexiglass and so much more. Our clients have also been socially isolated and super challenged through COVID-19, and Balance has been here to help. We have been providing additional mental health supports in a variety of ways, and we received a United Way grant to provide individual counseling to them for free. We also started monthly trivia nights, one of them is going on right now, online, and professional drama performances via Zoom, partnered with a local community theater, audio drama as in old-timey radio plays, but done so well, as well as numerous other groups and activities to help with social isolation and skill development. I'm very proud to receive this award tonight, and I'm receiving it truly on behalf of our whole team at the organization who've worked so hard to support and serve both before and during the pandemic. Thank you so much, Arif, for this honor. I know how I was nominated, but it's the choice that matters. And of course, I had no idea. He had nominated me. And when I got your call, I was very surprised. I'm so pleased and proud to be a resident of this community and neighborhood and to be able to work and contribute here also. Thank you.
Thank you for that very deliberate and pointed sort of message in terms of the work that Balance is doing. And we know that this pandemic has affected different communities in vastly different ways, but that's a really, really important message you just underscored. So thank you for reiterating it, Deborah. Last but not least, we have Kathy Brown. You heard her mentioned, I think, by Julia earlier, also nominated by Barbie Lazarus. Kathy is involved in a wide array of community initiatives. When a gigantic development proposal was put forward for the High Park rental community that would greatly impact the quality of life of literally thousands of people in our community, thousands of tenants, she stepped up and was the first lead organizer in a campaign to fight the developments. Eventually landed into the role of leading fundraiser for the effort. Her work spans beyond her immediate community into the broader community of Parkdale High Park. She's been very active since COVID hit, helping seniors and others in need, spreading the word about programs like the Windermere United Church Neighbors Helping Neighbors campaign, as well as dropping flyers to offer help to seniors in her own building. Again, nominated by Barbie Lazarus. For those of you who have encountered Kathy, you'll know that if there's a community champion, particularly in the High Park area, it is Kathy Brown. So over to you, Kathy, for a very deserving award.
Well, thank you. I got it. I was really surprised, I have to say. What was Barbie up to? Well, anyway, thank you everyone for hanging in and not leaving after you've had your little speech. I appreciate that very much. And so first I'd like to thank Barbie, but I'd also like to thank Arif for having such a positive ceremony and creating this event. It's been such a difficult year and we really need to celebrate what we can. I just wanted to share a few thoughts about community. For me personally, this year has been like an emotional meat grinder, and I know it might be that way for some of you. I live in a high-rise neighborhood of thousands of people, alone, but surrounded by others. Though my children and grandchildren live in the city, they have to follow COVID restrictions. However, what has inspired me over these months has been my neighbor, Anne. Last February, she had a knee replacement. Then COVID arrived. In her 80s, Anne could not go to rehab. I noticed her struggling in the hallway. And even in a community like a huge high-rise, you get to know your neighbors a bit. I decided to lend her a hand by doing her grocery shopping and recycling. Another neighbor did her laundry. Anne was mostly confined to her chair, but never seemed to give up, in spite of the fact that she suffered a heart attack a few months later, and we had to track down which hospital she was in. I got to visit her at St. Joe's just before they closed down visiting due to COVID. While I saw a gray cloud, she saw a glimmer of sunshine. A year later, she is now going to rehab, doing her own shopping and baking cookies for my grandchildren. I still do her recycling, but it's truly amazing. The experience alerted me to the reality of many shut-ins in my building, and there were deaths in our building of elderly people. And my entire high-rise neighborhood, we created a network of volunteers in partnership with Neighbors Helping Neighbors through the Windermere United Church, which really has been doing an amazing job. And I made a flyer of helpful numbers to aid people in overcoming isolation. I gave that to High Park tenants, and now they're going to put that out. I learned a valuable lesson. While we all privately may experience grief and hardship, compassion for others and ourselves is what builds community. It's the only way forward to recovery. Thank you.
You guys are just bloody awesome. Like I know that's not very parliamentary to say for me to say, but it's just such a heartfelt message. It's so poignant. It's so sincere. It is it's beautiful, honestly, Kathy. Like all of those sentiments from Kathy all the way back to the very start, everything that you guys are doing. And what I love about it is that it's so diverse, right? There are something a bit more traditional, like helping something with their groceries, but then there's all the way to let's build up a garden and provide habitat for butterflies. And then mixed in there, we've got Ethiopian poetry, and we've got salty Saturdays and everything into the mix and a bit of a chemistry lesson. It's quite amazing hearing from all of you. I really wish we could do this in person. I really wish we could, break bread, as somebody had said, that brings the Ronsi Works volunteers together, and we could have some Ethiopian injera, and we could have all sorts of other things.
Soup.
And some sticky bread. Don't forget Maria, my favorite. But I look forward to that day, and I'm sure it will come. I don't know when it will come. I was very optimistic last year that I would have a July 1st candidate picnic in 2020. And I was then again optimistic I'd have it in 2021, but we will do something. We will do it when we're able to do it, and it will be great. And until then, I'm just deeply moved by your stories. I'm very grateful because I felt like maybe I oversold it at the start, that it gives you a chance to hear from each other, but you just heard from each other, and it was a hell of a lot better than a Netflix evening. I'll tell you, because it's real, right? It's real, and it's true, and it's sincere, and it's about caring about other people, and even though you really are hurting yourself, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. It invigorates me to do better, to be better. And my assistant Dawn often puts it that she feels inspired to be a better neighbor when she's around sort of people that inspire, and that's what you guys are doing. And I mean that in all sincerity. You're inspiring all of us to be better neighbors, to think more about each other, and to be thankful. And that's what we need to do and what we have to do in times like this, because it's going to get us through this, and it's going to make us stronger as a community. And I think back to what Brian said about running Media United Church. You're going to establish different practices going forward, and you're going to put things online in perpetuity, because that's a bit more access for people that might be going through some of what Kathy just described with her neighbor. So thank you guys for being you. In terms of being thankful, I always forget to do this, but I need to let you guys know who helps me do these things. And it's not just me, because I'm not that tech savvy, maybe a little bit more Zoom experience than Maria, but not that much more. So it is people like Hamid, it is Chris, it is Tanis, it is Dawn, it is Tenzin, it is David. Those are my amazing staff who have been, in fairness, going through their own tough times, because particularly at the start of the pandemic, or as it ebbs and flows through different waves, it's been tough on them. And I salute them for what they're doing for our community and trying to serve all of you on my behalf and on behalf of the government of Canada. So thank you. If you haven't gotten your certificate, talk to Hamid. He's the one who mailed them out. No, talk to me. But I hope that you get it in person if you haven't gotten it already. And I hope you learned a bit about each other. And if you want to learn a bit more, like I'm sure maybe you're curious about, Deborah said it's her first time actually meeting Tony sort of in a virtual setting, et cetera. If you want to learn more about who's on, then feel free to get in touch with my office, and we'll try and connect you. And you can get your sticky bread recipe from Maria, and you can learn all about what everyone else is doing in all walks of life. And if you want to recruit Brian, and if Brian wants to jam with Jordan, then hey, God bless you guys. Go forward, Godspeed, and you can get together and do all that kind of fun stuff. But thank you very much for what I think is an amazing evening. I didn't know how this would work online, but I've been fully entertained. And
Arif, we have one more special request from Jordan Isaac. He would like to play the drums for us for 1 minute.
All right, Jordan, look out. Here we go. This is what happens. It's the encore. And Kathy, you were surprised people waited for you. People were waiting well past 8 o'clock. This is awesome.
Arif, if I can give one note before this, I'd like everybody to understand that all the volunteers that are involved, if there is anybody out there that isn't doing anything, please get in touch with somebody that is. Volunteer or donate some of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. That was all we have for today. We appreciate. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, and your comments.